obviously we're celebrating this event on Thursday, November 14th this year. Typically it's during the week of the 15th, somewhere in that week. In our event, we've chosen through the years to do it on Thursdays. We have always felt like it was a good day to have it on a Thursday. So it's not always on the 15th, even though the 15th of November is the official declared National Philanthropy Day for the United States, and actually now it's celebrated internationally. So started out as a something here in the United States, and has grown over the years. It's been about next year will be 40 years that this event was founded. And when we get to the next slide, well, we don't have to even go to the next slide. I'm just going to start talking about how it was founded. I mentioned earlier that there's a philanthropist here in Orange County, Doug Freeman, 45 years ago, decided that he wanted to figure out a way to celebrate philanthropy in general in the United States as a whole, sort of just a national day of recognition. And he spent 5 years writing letters to the White House, to Congress people, the governor of California. And after 5 years of very hard work, the governor at the time, Pete Wilson, was able to connect him with the then President Ronald Reagan. Doug was invited to the White House, and he had the president sign the documents to declare November 15th National Philanthropy Day. So it's really cool. We have a video of that taking place, and we usually show that at the event. So hopefully y'all be there this year, and you can see those little clips, because it's really cool to see Doug when his hair was not gray. It was black back then. So anyway, Doug is still here. Like I said earlier, he's still here in Orange County. He's still on the board at UC Irvine. He was on the board when I started working there in 1987. And again, he's just been involved in philanthropy in our county for 50 years plus. And so he really wanted to make this happen, and obviously he accomplished that. And so we're very proud of that. We're very proud to have it here in Orange County. Let's see, what else do I want to say about
phone? Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen, but you're not on slideshow. Oh, now I can't see any. Well, now we're back to pictures only.
She disappeared.
Oh, she did. All right, I'm just going to keep going. So that's pretty much describes National Philanthropy Day. It's a day of celebrating philanthropists in Orange County. When Doug founded it, he realized that he needed someone to manage it. And so at the time, he went to an organization called NSFRE, which was the National Society of Fundraising Executives, and which has now changed its name to AFP. So AFP is now the umbrella organization for NPD, for National Philanthropy Day. And so our event is an Orange County only event. So LA has their event, San Diego has their event, and so on and so on. And not all chapters of AFP do National Philanthropy Day. So something that the global office has recently asked me to help with. So, AFP Global is, we kind of wrote to them and said, and I wrote on behalf of Doug and saying, this is his legacy. We really want to see this continue to grow and flourish, and certainly never want to see it dwindle away. So we just feel that if we can get AFP Global more involved, that it'll trickle down to all the chapters, and hopefully the chapters will, the ones that aren't doing it might consider doing it, because it's just, it's a wonderful event if you've never been. Last year we had over 800 guests. One year that I think in 2010 we had 900 and something. That year, that was the 25th anniversary. So it's a big event. There's a lot of people there, and the media is there. There's philanthropists, community leaders from all over Orange County. So it's a really great way to honor your donors and your volunteers. And it's also a great networking opportunity. When you get there, there's about an hour of sort of reception time, and where you can meet people and hopefully run into some philanthropists that you can kind of give your business card to, or whatever you decide to do. So it's just a great thing, and I'm very proud to be involved still. So okay, next slide. And we're going to take questions at the end. So if you want to ask a question, just go ahead and wait, and then we'll do that at the very end. These are the categories. We have philanthropist, founder. Founder would be somebody who founded a nonprofit organization. And then we have philanthropic group or giving circle, volunteer fundraiser, and then we have 3 for corporation or business, small, mid-size, and large. And then we have a youth group, and then the legacy award is, and it says special designation there because we don't award it every year. It's up to the judging panel. Next slide. And you can go to mpdoc.org and see the descriptions, detailed descriptions of all the categories. Because sometimes when you're going to submit someone, you may not know which category it falls in. So you can go on there on the website and look at those descriptions. And who can submit? Anybody can submit. Company, even nonprofit organizations can submit. For-profit can submit. So anybody, individuals, nonprofits, companies can submit, but there's only 1 entry per category. So if you're going to submit someone for outstanding philanthropist, and then you think of a second person that you want as an outstanding philanthropist, then you should wait till next year, or decide which one is stronger, and then wait for the next year to maybe submit the other one. Next slide. One of the things that you should do is check the website to see if the person or business that you're considering has won in that same category in the past. So we don't, like if they were outstanding founder 5 years ago, we wouldn't want to do it again this year because they've already received that award. So make sure to check that. It's on the website. There's a few quirky things when you get on there. The category names have changed a little bit over the years. So if you ever have any questions, I'm here to answer those questions for you, and you'll have my contact information at the end. Next slide. Okay, so one of the main things that I emphasize about this important event is that it's such a great stewardship opportunity for those of us that work in the nonprofit world. First of all, it's free. You don't have to pay any money to submit somebody. And what I've found over the years, because I've been to this event forever, and the people that we recognize, they really appreciate it. And I don't think when they're first asked, if they've never been to the event before, they don't really realize, how much it's going to mean to them until, they get more involved throughout the process. And then of course the day of. So it's just it's a great way to recognize your donors, get them up there on that stage. And you've made a really good move in your strategy to carry your donors through your fundraising cycle, which, as we all know, stewardship is a big part of that. So the last thing on the slide, one thing we emphasize too is that all submitted entry. So Laura, if you have someone from Ronald McDonald's House and you submit them, they are an automatic honoree. So they will be recognized at the event. They will be listed in the program. They will be asked to stand the day of for a round of applause. And this is also a great thing because even if they aren't chosen by the judging panel to be what we call the outstanding honoree per the 9 categories, they are going to get a letter before the judging takes place, letting them know that your organization has submitted them for this recognition and this honor, and the letter will tell them that they are an honoree just by virtue of you submitting their name as for consideration. So so that's a really important piece because and that letter comes from Doug Freeman. He signs the letters as founder. So again, because we have him here with us, it's great that he can do that for us. So so keep that in mind. So it's not a waste of time, even if you're going to submit something. It's an automatic recognition opportunity for you. Next slide. The process, it's very simple. There's a submission form. It's all done online. You add your contact information, and what I usually do is a Word document. I'll type up my essay and just cut and paste it into the form. And this year we have for the first time ever, we've changed the capability of the online submission form. And in the past, we didn't have a way or an option to attach letters of support. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. So and how important those are. But we do have the capacity now. And so the next slide that's where, if you go onto the website, you'll see, click on awards, and then the submission form is the second on the drop down box, and then you'll also see the past honorees. So when you're going on to check, you can click there. So this is what the form looks like. It's simple. Just fill all this out, and next slide I'll show you where you're gonna put the honoree information in there. There's a category drop-down box at the top, so you pick one of the 9 categories. And next slide. This is where you'll cut and paste your essay, and this is where you can upload up to 5 files. And so I think I'm going to go to the next slide because that's where we talk about these extra files that you might want to compile. So yeah, next slide. So your essay. So you should explain and paint a story of who you are and what you do, who your submittee is. And that word submittee, it is an actual word, believe it or not. And because we used to call it nominees. And we changed it because of what I just said a few minutes ago, which is everyone submitted is an honoree. So we don't necessarily want to say they're being nominated for something when they're an automatic honoree just by virtue of you submitting them. So tell us about who your submittee is, how they've made an impact on your organization and other organizations. And you can also, a lot of us, especially some of the bigger philanthropists, you can talk about their philanthropy outside of Orange County a little bit too. The judges do focus their attention on their philanthropy in Orange County. But if you've got someone who's giving tens of millions of dollars all around the world, you could mention, that in your essay. Next slide. So these are some helpful hints. Your audience, which is, when I say audience, what I mean is the judging panel, is made up of community philanthropists and leaders. And many of these people are former winners themselves. And so they're the ones that judge the submissions. And that's the process that Kate, who's on the call here, and myself and Larry Zieber will manage this year. None of us nonprofit types vote. So we are there to facilitate only. And so it truly is more of what we call a peer-to-peer review process. And yeah, again, just tell us who they are as much as you can. Some people, a lot of people know, others, nobody knows. So be good about telling us who they are. And again, I always ask someone to read mine and see if there's anything glaring or anything I'm missing. So maybe someone else in your organization, you could have a look at that. And of course, make it compelling. We'll be competing with other organizations. So this is where I talked about the attachments. So I think one of the most important things when you're submitting, if you want your submission to be stronger, is to find out if your donor volunteer supports other nonprofit organizations. And if they do, contact them and tell them what you're doing, explain how you're submitting them for this recognition, and ask them for a letter of support. And that letter they can send you, and that's where you would upload the file where we showed you earlier on the submission form. So this is a really important part of the process, and it's kind of an obvious one. I mean, if we've got 2 entries and one has one organization and there's another one that has 5 or 6, typically the one that has 5 or 6 is probably going to be more compelling to the judges. So just keep that in mind. It's not always the case, but it's definitely best to collaborate with other nonprofits if you can, and if your donors, volunteers are involved in other organizations. And you don't even have to have them write a letter. I've had this experience myself where I've done submissions and asked people to write letters, and everybody has good intentions, and then they don't get around to it. So I always just say, send me an email. Just send me an email with 3 or 4 paragraphs of how this person has impacted your organization, and you can save that as a PDF and attach that. So it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be as simple as having them send an email. Okay, next slide. So there's two parts to the judging process. The committee, that's myself again, and Kate and Larry. And what we do is we recruit the judging panelists. So, and again, I mentioned it earlier, comprised of business and community leaders, philanthropists, and past honorees from Orange County. And then the judging panel is the panel of judges. So those are the people that we recruit. So we refer to them as panelists. They're the ones that are actually doing the judging. So again, the committee members, those of us on the NPD committee that are managing this process, we're just managing it and facilitating it. There are occasions, it doesn't happen often, but if the 3 of us on the judging committee, if we read a submission and if we feel like it's not necessarily in the right category, we might call you and ask that you might consider moving it to another category where it might be either stronger or more appropriate. So it doesn't happen often, but it could happen. Next. Okay. So you can submit. Their submissions are open now online. Again, there's the website address, and we showed you earlier how to click on the awards tab. Next slide. And then the deadline is May 31st. So it's coming up. When is that? Is it next? No, what day is May 31st?
It's a week from tomorrow. It's
from tomorrow.
Next Friday. Yes.
Okay. So we've got a little time left. So, and it's not unusual. My experience, and I did this last year, I did judging, and we've got 80% of the submissions the last 3 or 4 days. So it's pretty typical that people wait until the deadline's facing them and then they get on it. So, but you can submit today, tomorrow, anywhere up to May 31st. Next slide. Let's see. Can you revise it? No. So again, just review it carefully and maybe have someone else help you review it. So because there's no way to go back into the system and cut and paste or erase or anything like that. Next slide. How will you know if your submittee is chosen as the outstanding honoree? So what happens is we're going to be, the judges will be meeting. We're going to split them up into 9 different categories, and those are the categories of the actual awards. And each panel will probably be about 3 to 5 people. And again, these are people from the community that we recruited to be judges. So that will take place in June, and then July will be a final meeting where all the panelists come together and talk about who they've chosen with the entire group, and a conversation is had, and everybody sort of yays or nays, and typically it's all yays. So it's I've never seen it not be. So it's a fun process though, and the 9 panelist meetings we're going to do via Zoom, but then we'll have one big in-person meeting in July. And Charlie Zhang is our he's the chair of the judging panel. And he and Leona Aronoff Sadaka. She was the Legacy Award winner last year. So Charlie and she are going to be leading the judging panel final meeting, and they're also the ones that review the legacy category. Next slide. Oh, one thing I didn't mention on the last slide. Once the outstanding is chosen at that final meeting, we decide at that meeting which one of the judges will be making the phone call, because again, we want it to be a peer-to-peer phone call. So it's if they are chosen as the outstanding honoree, you'll be notified, but the person that is being chosen, someone from the judging panel will be calling them. For example, last year Leona won Legacy, and Charlie Zhang called her, and so that's how that's done. And the judges, they like it. They like being the ones to make that call. And then how are we recognizing them? So at the event on the 14th, we do have a reception in the morning before the general public gets there, and it's for all the honorees. And we invite the media, we invite other VIPs. That could be typically our major sponsors are invited to that. And any other dignitaries that we feel should be invited. So that takes place at before we open it up to the general public at 10:30 a.m. on the 14th. So obviously they'll be on stage at the luncheon. Each year we do a tribute video, and so if your person is chosen, you're going to likely be contacted by someone on the committee to talk to you and maybe the other organizations that supported your submission about who can be featured in the video, who's going to be best from your organization to talk in a video about how this person is so deserving of the honor that they're getting. And typically there's 3 people per video, and it could be most of the time 3 different organizations. So and that's always a fun part of the program the day of. They are featured in stories in the media, and we do have some media sponsors. The Orange County Business Journal, the Register, and PBS SoCal are our media sponsors. And so we get some free press from them, and so it really makes for really great media attention. And again, those outlets, thousands of people are looking at those, and so it's nice for the winners to see their name in lights, so to speak. So that will happen, and that happens before and after the event. And then, of course, they're listed in the program the day of, and we do have the big screens in the room, and their names will be rolling on that day as well. Okay. What happens if your submittee is chosen as the outstanding honoree? I talked a little bit about that in the last slide, but you definitely want to get them there, obviously. And this slide probably really should say either outstanding or just, honorees, because you want to, everyone's going to be honored if you've submitted them. So you want to make sure that either you host them, or even better, ask them to purchase a table or sponsorship. Typically, most of the honorees like to purchase a table because they want to invite their family and their friends, and and it's good for us. It's good for MPD. It's good for AFP, because this event is a major part of the revenue source for AFP Orange County. So it's really important for us on the committee that we are selling as many tables and getting as many sponsorships as we can. And then I talked already about the tribute video. So we can go to the next slide. Oh, you did. Okay, what if they're not chosen? Okay, sorry, I didn't see it flip. Everyone is an automatic honoree. I talked about the Doug Freeman letter. They'll be getting that before the judges meet. They will be given a special gift that day, and sorry about that. And I explained how they'll be listed in the program as well, and they'll be asked to stand for a round of applause. So they do get their own special recognition at the event. Okay. That's about it. We're going to open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions, just unmute and we will answer your questions.
I have a question about showcasing their involvement with other organizations. So I know it's encouraged to put it in the submission itself, but also have those organizations do like a letter of support. Balance wise, like, is that letter of support seen as an extension of your submission? I don't know, like duplicating the same things, right? If I say something in my submission about them and how they serve other organizations, and then the letter of support says the same thing, is that a good thing? Is that
It's what I would recommend if you are going to have other organizations that are willing to help you out and write those letters. If I were writing a submission, I would mention those other organizations, but then let them explain. You could just have a paragraph. This person gives to this, and this, and this, and this. And they may give to organizations that you're not going to get letters of support from. So let's say you've got, they give to 6 other organizations, but you only get 3 letters of support. So I would mention them in your part of your essay as well, but don't go into detail if they've already given you a letter of support, because they're going to go into detail about how that person benefits their organization.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? No? All right.
I have a question if someone else does it. Say my organization is submitting a submittee, and then I'm asked to write a letter of recommendation, because you can only submit one. But what if I'm asked to write a letter of recommendation because someone else might be involved or whatever? So how is that seen?
So your example would be you're going to submit someone for outstanding philanthropist, and then someone else is going to submit a different person and also ask you to write a letter of support.
Right. Maybe they're both on your board.
Yeah.
Per se.
Yeah. That really hasn't ever come up. I think it would be fine. It's going to be up to the judges when they go through, all these submissions, and the judges really read everything very carefully, and then They have long discussions about, you know, the honorees. So I really wouldn't think a letter of support would be like a duplicate, you know, entry. I think that was your question. So
Yeah.
I think it would be fine.
Okay, great.
All right. So if there's no more questions, we can end the webinar. Thank you all for joining us today. And as Shazine said, this is recorded. So if you want to tell your friends out in the community they weren't able to get here, that they can go on the website and is it just a recording or is it the video too, Shazine?
It's the video, and I'll try to fix the front. Thank you everyone for your patience with our technical issues. I appreciate that. So yeah, we'll put it on, we'll create a link, we'll have our webmaster put it on there. And so any other questions, technical stuff, anything? So yeah, feel free to reach out to Kathy directly. You have her contact information. And you know, visit the website. There's an honoree list, not only a tab, but there's an actual PDF on the submission page. So you can look that up and see any of those. So, all right. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here. And again, just, you know, spread it out to your friends so they know as well. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Appreciate everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.